What's going on, everybody? It's PR Corey back for another presentation for you all. As you can tell by the title, this is going to be 45 degrees and the Palpa lines. I named it pretty much geographically correctly this time, Palpa lines, because Palpa is in the same region as the Nazca, but that's something that can be talked about on the later date. But I just wanted to talk about this question that somebody asked me on the panel. So there's more explain. I don't want it to be, like when I say it, I don't want it to sound like I'm just saying it just to say it. So I'll just show this quick evidence with it. I don't duration of this video. I don't know how long it'll be necessarily, but yeah, let me go ahead and get on straight to it. So share audio. Remember that. I'm gonna go to this show real quick. That I had joined. I'm gonna rewind to the. I don't know exactly where I came in. That I had to go to the picture. I hate this is freezing up like this. It wasn't even just doing this, but here we go with that.
And what happened was we literally fell from higher states of understanding our reality when we took on these.
I forgot I got Google Earth in the background open like a mug. I forgot about that. And aligned them to where everything adds up to be 15. And when you take 15 times 3, that adds up to be 45. That's why I was telling folks that when it comes down to Saturn, I'm not saying that to be argumentative, but when you said that the number to deal with Saturn earlier, Sanchez, was Esca Estrella, that's what the name they call it. It's about. Right here as I joined in, I was just telling I'm just giving a little brief and I'll skip through because I ain't really, this is stuff that people over here, if they pay attention to it enough, they should already know this that I'm talking about. It's just a brief overview for them. Let me go to the folder real quick. Now, you remember when I brought up the Nazca lines last time, Sanchez?
A little bit, but you can reiterate. Go ahead.
Okay. The Nazca lines are big, huge geoglyphs. I know we talked about aerial, the ancients flying and stuff like that. Like I had tried to, show a little bit briefly last time about the, or I tried to have you click. It's crazy. Click on these different things. As far as the Nazca Estrella, that's what the name they call it. It's different names for it. They don't have a solid name for it as far as some people call it the matrix star. But anyway, when y'all were talking about numbers and all of this stuff, this all has to go back to do with my discovery and everything. With Saturn, the numbers, numerology, you were bringing up astrology. I don't know if you know about anything called magic squares, but at the end of the day, Freemasons apparently, I don't know if that's their thing. They own this particular one right here. But this is the magic. You have different magic squares, and it's based on the grid. You got, of course, with squares and everything, you have a one, of course, one square, and then you have you can have 2x2, 3x3. But right here is where you have the first set of numbers, as you can see, which is the original numbers, the whole numbers, real numbers that we use, 1 through 9. All of these add up to be 15 by the row for this magic square. Now I know you brief. See, the way that I carry myself when I come on somebody else's panel and everything, even though I might have some things that I might disagree with, it's just a time and place for everything. I try to make for sure that if I was to address something else that I did, negative or positive, it's like, what is just like he said with the whole presentation, this should just show that I'm not here to destroy this. I'm not out to destroy this man's nothing that he got going on, anything, period. that I feel like that should be nobody's motive in life. Period. That's screwed up if it is. But you know, it's just going to show that I'm genuine behind my whole efforts and with the knowledge that I am trying to disperse to people. So you know, that's just crazy. You know how over here, people might feel like, he was just going off over the, this is not what people making out to be. You got to look at how I have, been on people's panels, and I've explained that I've been on people's panels, and I don't get treated fairly, and I voice and I can show proof behind that, you know, and that's something that people don't want to talk, that because the personal stuff is what people don't want to talk about, and I ain't even trying to make that about what this video is about right here right now, because it's not, it's all about, I'm showing the information, but I just wanted to brief on that real quick. Briefed on magic earlier, so I don't look at this like some I just said the same word as I guess witchcraft, for lack of better words, but brief. I don't look at it like that. I don't utilize it as that either. But what I do, I'm just showing the facts. Now with this right here, the way that they did it, they just pretty much just took the numbers and aligned them to where everything adds up to be 15. Now, see what Sanchez has said earlier in that show. I want to shout out to something that he has said about the magic square, because that's what I'm saying to folks, and I feel like my work really proves it. It's not just a feeling. I know it does. It's showing people something from a whole nother level. Now, this square right here with these numbers in it that add up to be 45, just like my lineup adds up to be 45, right? At the end of the day, when you look at the reason why this is magic is because usually the thing with magic is you're making something. I don't even know if jig. I don't even know what the etymology of the word jig is, so I ain't finna fake and act. Act like putting nothing there. But I know that or make. You're making something happen. You're altering something is what I'm getting at. And what I'm getting at here is that with these numbers right here, it's not really a science behind it, really, honestly. And the reason why I say that is because the only true science that you can really see behind it is the fact that you see that 4, 5, and 6 right there. Those numbers right there go at what? A 45-degree angle. The 4 and 5 is at a 45-degree angle, like I've been saying, which is the secret altogether. It's hidden in there. But what I'm getting at is that these numbers, like y'all have been saying, the main thing that people will get at, and it's a great argument, but I'm just showing people on my end, I have truly done something that combats and destroys, that argument in itself, as far as real core numerology and showing it as a science and frequency for what number really is. And I'm not just talking, the argument that I'm talking about is the fact that people will say that numbers are just symbols, because they are, as far as what people are, human beings, when they hear the word number, they're perceiving them as just symbols. They're not, they are just symbols, but at the same time, they aren't once you get into the what I've been showing, the system that we use, the Cartesian grid 0 through 9, we use it for the decimal system is for a reason. It's part of grandly all that I've been showing, all that I've been showing. And when it comes down to it, these numbers are just symbols that are just put everywhere. The number 1 is not like, how is the number 1 right here being shown? How is this number 1 really? What makes it put 1 right there, and what makes 6 have to go right there? Because you can switch this around and still get the same type of math going on. They don't have to be in this same. But with mine and what I've shown is that at the end of the day, you see where this 4 is at? There, at the end of the day, that's always going to be on ground zero. That block is always going to be ground zero right there. If you were to put and start off like mine, it would be 0, and then where 5 is at, you would have 1. And you have 1 block that you put under here to create. You take 15 times to create a tower. See, 1 block is just 1 block. The square is the circle, okay, which is 0, okay? But you don't create a tower until you have two, which is what I've been getting at with my work with the twin towers. Twin two is the etymology of tower, TOWTWO. That's what I was kind of getting at last show. Um, it's the two things, the two aspect of one is really two, and when you say zero is really one. You know, when you as far as when we pronounce it, I ain't gonna say it is really, but I'm gonna say that it can be interchangeably used as times three. That adds up to be 45. That's why I was telling folks that when it comes down to Saturn, I'm not saying that to be argumentative, but when you said that the number to deal with Saturn earlier, Sanchez, was number five, that's why I was saying more so on my end, I've seen 45. Now, this is just their magic square, but like I was showing y'all, I know y'all have seen my discovery numerous times with the numbers 0 through 9. Um, which one should I click on first? I guess this one. Now, I guess with astrology, I know that y'all remember the conjunction that just passed. So I want to ask y'all. Now, I would love to take this opportunity to ask y'all if I'm tripping or not. I know that y'all are into sacred geometry, like Sanchez just said earlier. At the end of the day, the key tool that he uses or that we use is, a sacred geometry. So that's really what I'm getting into. But I just went into a deeper aspect of numerology and sacred geometry together. But when you look at the astrological symbols for both Jupiter and Saturn, what numbers do they look like? Any numbers to you specifically?
I know
I'll just
Saturn
ask
is.
the panel that, or
I know Saturn definitely is the number 5. I actually touched on that, how the symbol of Saturn. Why?
see on point. And I ain't disagreeing with him right here. That ain't why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because it's like I don't get how people couldn't just say that they see 4 and 5 right there, because the other one looks just like 4. Like literally, I got one in my drive. I just don't want to, because this computer be jittering and freezing up and stuff. I don't really want the presentation to chop up too much. But the number it's literally somebody else who made the post on the internet already, and they said that the astrological symbol for number is numerous ones, say that it looks like the number 4. But I usually see that one more than I see the Saturn looks like 5. So he sees the 5 in Saturn. I don't see how he couldn't just say that he see it with the Jupiter too, because if he all I know is if he can see it with the Saturn, you can definitely see 4 with Jupiter. So I'm just glad that he can see that one looked like a 5, and that's part of why he said that, Saturn being 5. But that's crazy, that's wild.
Why how it became the number 5, and why I was talking about Saturn meaning the number 5 and also the number 7. The way I explained, you can actually see the 5 and the 7 with the symbol of Saturn, the two numbers I was bringing up. But I don't want to cut into your thing. Go ahead, brother.
Right on, bro. I appreciate that too. It's this is your thing anyway, man. I'm just showing y'all this and getting off of here, but this right here is Jupiter and Saturn, the astrological, and right there is the conjunction symbol. Now Mars it looks just like this, and if you realize why are these symbols at 45 degrees? All 45 degrees is so constant, and I press that because it's something. It's a newfound what I call a universal constant. It's something that you can't escape. And when you look into these Nazca lines, one of the
Literally.
main reasons that I press it is because
Literally. See,
once we
and the
get
reason why I say that, see, somebody who questioned everything, they'll probably say, why would you say you can't escape? The reason why I say that is because what were you before this? Can anybody prove me what was life before this to the people who question everything? Because I question everything too. I just know how to create a foundation on what facts are, and discern what true facts are and not. Do you know what life was before this? No, I don't either. Do you know what life is going to be after this necessarily? Can you bring any proof to factually say what life is going to be after this? No, you cannot. All you know is what? The present, which is right now. What I'm getting at is golly, I was about to say something so important, man. Golly, I hate when that happens, man. Oh man, I was about to say something so important. Ah, golly, I hate when that happened. Excuse me, man, because it made me look stupid, bro. I'm sorry. Y'all know I ain't stupid, bro. Man, I told y'all I had memory problems anyway, but damn, man, I know I lost that one, golly, cause I ain't anyway.
You get into the geoglyphs, um,
Let
these
me rewind it
specifically
back and see if something triggers something.
something. These symbols at 45 degrees. 45 degrees is so constant, and I press that
Oh
because
yeah,
it's something. It's a newfound what I
that's
call
what I
a
was saying about the can't escape it, the consistency of it. All that you that's what I was saying. Before this life you can't show or prove what you were. All that exists is now. And while we're in this now, what are the elements that we see that help us in this now? As far as navigation, is there anything as far as navigation that has to do with 4 and 5? Yes, navigation is something that we can't escape. Us as humans, we have to go places. We have to go to work. We have to go here and there, to and fro. It's something out of life that we just can't really escape. Not only just that aspect, but regardless of whether we focus on navigation or not, the aspect of magnetism throughout all of life, you can see it. The essence of North Pole and all of that type of stuff, central point energy. Um, emission and everything. This stuff can be seen everywhere, man. Symmetry. This is an aspect of nature that can be seen everywhere. And when it comes down to the 45 degrees, the compass is something you just can't escape while you're in this now, this present life, which is all that we know and all that we can prove. You ain't gonna be able to. You can't prove what you were before this. You can't prove what you were after this. All that you can prove is what you living in right now, and that's why I focus on. I'm not attached to what is here because I know that part of what we're supposed to be doing is necessarily getting away from this physical plane. I say necessarily because I can't factually say, because just like I just said, all that I know is that what is this. All that we know is what exists here is now, and I can't speak for everyone except my um beyond myself in that context because hey, that's common sense. Nobody can bring back proof. Nobody's bringing back no any type of video evidence of what happens after life when you die. Nothing or before either. Uh, all that exists is right now, and those components, earth, wind, water, and fire, those elements are within my work. Numerology, the chronological order of counting, is within my work. The polar opposites of numbers, what I realized throughout my life as I live is that polarity exists within life, no matter what. You cannot escape that. Polarity is going to exist. And I found out what those true polarities were, just like Rodin did. I'm not saying I was the first to find out what those polar numbers are. I'm not saying that. But the way that I constructed it is one within its own self and had never been done or explained like it on this earth before, like I am now. And the nearest that you can get to it, and I show evidence of it because just because I say and show that nobody else on earth is showing it, how I'm showing it, that doesn't mean that I'm not, um, saying that it was understood in the past as well, you know, or a road to it was, paved down, or that's what I'm talking about with the Incas and the Nazca lines and the Palpa lines, like I'm showing here today.
call a universal constant. It's something that you can't escape. And when you look into these Nazca lines, one of the main reasons that I press it is because once you get into the geoglyphs, these specifically, this is one close up. I hope you zoom in on it. Some of these ain't got zoom capabilities. Well, it does. But this is the actual ground. Some people might think there's just drawings, but this is actual ground photo. You can actually, and they got video too. I got it on my channel. But you can go here and walk here and look at all of these geoglyphs that are here on the ground. When they were made, I know it's something that's highly questioned. Some people might even speculate that they are recent, but just based off of what I've been seeing and the information that I've revealed and everything, that's not the case. Um, but if you look and pay attention to every last one of these, everything is at 45 degrees. You see right isosceles triangles. Um,
I love my
Now,
flow,
what
man.
Sanchez was
But
talking
for
about,
me to be like when I hear people get up on, and I ain't saying that what I'm showing is better than nobody or nothing, but my flow and my delivery, how for me to be on somebody else's stuff and how, that's what I want to do. I want to make for sure when I get on somebody else's stuff that ain't, being the destructive aspect of their stuff, making their stuff look bad in any type of way. That's why I was glad that I could, screen share and everything like I did this time, instead of just having to show the drawings like I usually do, because people really can't see my stuff in clarity like that, or just showing my phone. That's just not. I care about dude stuff as if it's my own. It's not my own. I don't see it as my own, but I realize that whenever I do, you know, and I try not to speak on it, but whenever I am an insert within it, the ratings are great. I realize that, and if that helps him, that's what it, I mean, hey, that's what's great. I mean, that's what he says that he wants at the end of the day, and that's why I trip like I do in a way, because I'd be like, if I'm being a help in that type of way, why not want me around or anything like that, to offer the information that I am offering, that people don't know, that you've been asking people, so long for, because literally ain't no, but I mean, other people are showing. It's one thing to show a new perspective on something, and when I say show a new perspective, I'm saying talk about something, from a new perspective. But once you show something with proof, pictorial proof, and you can build it, you can apply it, stuff like that, that's phenomenal. And all I'm showing is saying to people is I'm the stepping stone. I'm that drop in the water, that core that's gonna spark off everything. If people just don't hate on me, that's all I'm asking for. If people don't hate on me and they saw the real in it, they'll realize, okay, damn, dude figured out this could spark off. If all I'm gonna say is, and this really is throwing my own self down, it's something else to be discovered with the hexagon. I can't work on it right now, but that's a bone that I'm throwing somebody else. You can discover it yourself. I'm not going to give it to you, but you got to have the heart yourself to figure it out. Just like I'm drawing this out with the square, it's something else that can potentially be discovered with the hexagon. And just like I really been giving out the keys and clues with it. Like I say, the central of the hexagon slash the cube, when you look at it, the central point, that's the 45-degree line going straight through a cube from corner down to, corner. I ain't gonna get into that right now, man. But I'm just saying, it's so much stuff out here. People, I'm showing at 45. It is the at the end of the day when I'm talking about the hexagon, I'm getting at the aspect of the bees and the masons. Um, you know, like I said, the inverse square law I show here on his show, through that picture that you see right there. I talked in the past about the inverse cube law. That's my own. And actually, I saw one little article when I typed it up. I saw one little article that, not even an article, but some type of result. I'll just say it came up on Google, but nothing really comes up on the inverse square law too much as itself, as far as talking about it. Because I said square law, I mean cube law. That's what I meant to say. Anyway,
The flat Earth map. That's what I was getting at. Apparently, with this, I'm gonna show y'all this, and I'm gonna get off of here real quick. This is Mount Meru, of course, as you or the Mercator map, North Pole map, projection map. And right here in the center, of course, y'all already know how this goes. You see the four rivers splitting from here. Well, look at where these four rivers split.
and I really want people to really pay attention. I don't think it just don't strike people like it struck me. I guess I don't know what it is, but if you look at, I'm not saying that it's not supposed to overlay perfect. That's not what people are. That's what people are not getting. Um, think about it. Okay, every human being. What I'm showing y'all is that at the end of the day, there is an underlying simplistic architectural structure and geometry to everything that you see in life that is based upon a grid. Just like you see every human being, yes, has, and not only a grid but frequency itself, like Nikola Tesla said, think in terms of frequency. These are the keys to the universe, stuff like so. Frequency, every human being, like I'm pointing out, the has universal constant, physical constant, physics. You are a part of physics. Can't nobody lie and say that. You literally can study a human being. That's part of how they create most of the technology that they're creating now, is by studying the aspects of the human being. So you're a part of physics. You're a huge physics experiment itself. 4.5, 4 plus 1 equaling 5. Your hands, your body, 4 and 1 equals 5. four limbs and one. What I'm showing you is that, and saying that right there, because with these rivers right here, it's all based on a grid, but just because it's not, perfectly looking like the grid that I'm showing, and what I'm showing is that those splits that you see right there are a result of the energy, the perfect underlying grid that does structure. Just what I'm saying, it's so hard just to say this, and I really, that's where writing just is so important. When you write stuff down, meditate and stuff, write stuff down, you can just, you got your lines, you can just say, uh, and I don't do that. That's just an idea I just put out there. But what I'm really trying to say, man, is that every human being has these same frequencies, the exact same frequencies. Some might be off, but it's very rare. But all human beings have these four, these frequencies I just pointed out. But we all look different, right? Exactly. That. So what I'm saying is that same, it's all based on the grid, but it don't mean it's gonna look just like the grid, and that everything that's replicated upon the grid is gonna look exactly self replicable. Because what I'm getting at is that right here in the center point is where everything is supposedly the generative principle is where everything is supposed to be generated from, in the first place. So just like a cell, just like you look at cells and everything. So mitosis and once that's going on, all cells when that make up your body, it's like looking at your cells and saying that all of them is supposed to look the same and be shaped the same. It's not going to happen. Your cells actually shed and they change over time and everything, just like that's supposed to be going and regenerating here at the North Pole. It's not in the North, it's part of why the maps and stuff ain't 100% accurate is because the land is truly, it's always changing in its own way. The terrain is always changing, whether trees being cut down, water, flooding, sinkholes, all type of stuff happens to the land. People act like the earth is just 100% still, but the earth moves itself too. I'm not saying that it's one of the most still elements, of course, is rock, but you know, I'm just saying it does move, but people act like it doesn't. But when it does move, it's useless. It ain't nothing to play with when it does. Shit.
And pay attention to the geometry. Geometry, literally, the word comes down to mean earth measures. When you look at the etymology of the word geometry, it means measuring of the earth. So that's what I'm saying with the square. That's the best way, the wisest. You wouldn't take any other shape besides a line to measure something. Um, as far as for accuracy. So I'm gonna show this real quick. When you take this
That's right.
geoglyph of Nazca
You
event,
wouldn't take a
like
circle.
I just showed y'all, I'm gonna zoom in.
Now, when I say for accuracy, that's what I'm getting at for y'all. Just like we mimic when we build something. If this, what y'all have to get at is, okay, if globe earth, flat earth, whatever earth you is, you could be a whatever earther, literally that title, whatever earther. Okay. You could just say the earth is whatever and be, not even care what it is. But you should care what it to care about if you know wise on what we call woke and stuff. But anyway, at the end of the day, bro, it comes down to the fact of, is this place created? Is this place that we are living on created? And if it is created, it was created based upon having to be on some type of essence of a grid. And that's what I'm showing. That's how you see that whole time and everything, the whole circuit, everything moves as it does. And when I say time, I'm talking about the sky, what we look at above, because that's all a clock. That's the original clock. The whole clock is mimicked off of that. What we look at as far as the watch and the quartz clocks that we look at on our walls and stuff, that's just recording the sun. That's it, not the moon necessarily, and the rest of the celestials. It's not doing that. But you do have other, of course, clock like grandfather clocks. And when you look into grandfather clocks, it's a lot of Masonic connections with that. If you look at most grandfather clocks, it's really a lot of Masonic symbolism in them. And actually, to be honest, I got a family member who's a Freemason. He, really got a lot of you know, loving for grandfather clocks. Just being honest.
And and it amazed me that if you know what the Mandelbrot set is, what you're looking at right here, everything that Sanchez has been telling everybody about the numbers has been 100% on point. About the numbers being their own universe. He said that a few videos
See, I
ago.
ain't on there arguing. I ain't on there trying to be like I said this for you know, it's like people, you know, I ain't no, you know, even though I might have, you know, all I'm saying is I get what he been saying, and I like I said, that's why I act like that's one person I know would get what I be saying. And when it come down to these universal aspects of numbers, the numbers being universes, that's what I've been saying. That's why if you go back and look at my work, actually, I was saying last year I was putting the titles of the numbers. You know, when I was drawing these out, Universe 3, Universe 4, Universe 8. That's what I had started calling it, literally. So we on the same page. That's why I was saying it's either he watches my content, which I like. I was saying reasonably when I was saying in the past, I wouldn't doubt it that the Negro watches or doesn't. You know, it watches. I mean, you know what I mean, because like I say, and we ain't gonna get into that, but it's anybody with common sense, you know. Come on now, that's all I like to say. Moving on.
Pretty much that's exactly what you see here. You're looking at the decimal system actually itself. The numbers 4 and 5, for everything is cut up in half and quarters. So when the quarter aspect got brought up earlier, that deals with quartz, crystals, and everything. This is literally a lattice. And when you look into latticery, that's pretty much another word for crystals. But if you pay attention to these lines, the points of the big square all line up at the same exact thing. If you zoomed in at that point, what that is, I got another picture. What you see is 0, 9 and 0, 9. But if you go to this one, where and it's crazy, man. Like if you go to this one, when you zoom in, this is a zoomed in picture. It's the same exact thing.
Bro, that's crazy.
So you got 0 and it will continue. If you pay
Bro, that's
attention to
crazy.
that, it will continue to do that. Now, what does this all mean? At the end of the day, like I was telling y'all with geometry and the word
That
geo,
shit crazy.
you know, geometry coming out to be measuring
That shit literally
of the
never
earth.
end.
When you look at the compass and everything, it's all split up into 45 perfect degrees.
Lotus
That's
flower.
why when you look at these geoglyphs, just like this is actually a crop circle. So this is the same exact design that popped up on another side of the world. And if you pay attention, what do you
That's what
see?
I'm.
Everything is at
Now, can y'all see what I'm getting at now? If this is an infinite plane that we on, or whatever the case may be, that's why I've been talking about the crop circles that I've been talking about so much, man, because that's part of and flat earth. You know, it's something you just don't hear people talking. Like I said in the past, black people especially, you just don't hear them talk about it. It's funny how that is too, because I said as well, it's something that happens in a European area. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it usually happens in England, those type of areas. You know, over in the UK and stuff like that. That's usually where most crop circles pop up. They're in Australia, which is white dominated places. So so what's the it goes in I ain't gonna say what I think. I ain't gonna say what I'm not saying think and when I say think, I ain't saying believe. That's what people when some people say some people misconstrue think and believe, When somebody say that they think about something, especially me speaking for myself in my case specifically, I'm just saying that's a thought that just came past my head and I'm just verbalizing. I'm just choosing not to verbalize what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. That don't mean I believe what I'm thinking. It's just a thought that just crossed my head. And now that you comprehend what I'm saying, 9 times out of 10, what I thought was maybe that's got to deal with the whole alien aspect of white people. I ain't saying that they are aliens, but I'm just saying, maybe it's something being communicated there. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that with the South America aspect, that's where the white first came to. And I know that my ancestors over here on this side predicted that those people were going to come over here and do what they did before they ever even did. And this geoglyph has popped up. It's the same exact thing, like I'm saying and pointing out. That's the Nazca geoglyph that you see. It just popped up in the middle of nowhere. However, you know, in England, crazy.
45 degrees, right angles, and 45 degrees. This is mimicking of the compass. And when you look at the first compass, it's actually, it looks just like this. I brought that up in the past. So when you bring up the flat earth, if you think about clocks, we was talking about chronos and time, Saturn and all of that type of stuff, the magic squares, chronological order. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is chronological order. That's going back to Chronos and Saturn. When you add all of those numbers up of chronological counting, you get 45. So 45, 4 plus 5, of course, comes back to be that number 9, um, which is this center. If you look at this right here, I got a chair swivel. What's
Yeah.
the significance of this? Because every
And what people ain't getting, see this right here, what would be in the center? My eye, like y'all saw me draw. I is the ninth letter. That's very significant. I, the ripple effect. What does the letter I look like? The I literally looks like a person with an eye. The dot, the kindling flame, the fire. You know, you, when I said the kundalini is what I'm talking about right there. The kindled flame, the candle. You know, that's what the letter I looks like a little ripple effect. It's great, you know.
every single number that you see, literally in the center of that number, is the same center. You will have the swivel in the center of every single square that you see here, being
That's
its
crazy.
own universe. And what that swivel would do, it will rotate in the same exact direction. And what would that do? It mimics just like a clock would do. You know how a clock gears,
So
how they
think about that.
interweave into.
So think about that. Electromagnet. This is an electromagnetic field because, like I'm saying, certain the components of certain elements can be applied here and replaced for the numbers. Is what I'm getting at. That's what people ain't getting, man. It's a code. It's a freaking code, man. A blueprinted code. That's what I'm telling people. That's why people ain't getting it. It's not just pretty numbers. What I'm telling people is it's an energetic code, man. When you apply certain elements, that's why I was showing y'all that, you know, the different elements, like, you know, that's associated with these planets that they say, you know, and then you get into alchemy and stuff like that. One of the biggest things is, you know, making gold out of nothing, you know, creating your own gold. If you can do that, then you can be rich. And that's the power that they do. They know how to do that. And guess who has those power? When you look into that, those people who have those power uses the Freemasons. So look at, you know, who have those type of that knowledge, you know. Uh and those people, of course, the gold, you know, that's what people say back everything as far as the real money, you know, and everything. But we ain't gonna get into money and stuff.
To each other and keep each other perpetually moving. That's what 45 degrees has to deal with, anti-gravity and all of that. So I just wanted to show that real quick and actually ask y'all, was I tripping about this astrological sign looking like 4 and 5, the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, and
And you know what's crazy, man? I ain't just saying, y'all already know, man. If somebody says something negative, I'll say something back to them. As far as my work, I'm going to defend my work. I'm going to show, not in a negative way, unless they come at me negative, you know, but in a very intellectual way. If they come at me intellectual, you know, just like this brother did here on this panel. He came at me intellectually, didn't come at me crazy or nothing like that. And how did we handle ourselves? We handle ourselves correctly as we should, man. And that's, you know, that's really all it should come down to. It's not hard as people make it seem, you know. You know, it ain't hard to.
I'm
see just
gonna
another picture if y'all want to look at it. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm gonna drop a bomb. This is deep shit. This is fucking dope. You never cease to impress me.
Hey y'all,
That's one.
Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. It's
There
your
you go,
boy B.
right there. That's what I was saying. Nobody said anything negative in the comment section, is what I was saying. You know, so I was amazed by that. You know, if somebody coming up there and they offering some information that, you know, I know that people ain't gonna numbers, you know, just jump on it like that. I don't really expect them, you know, just to jump on it like that. You know, when they first see it, when and then me being presenting this new stuff to them right here because it's new. but you can't deny it when you see it, and that's why you don't see nobody. When they seeing what they seeing, they can't deny it, that the shit line right up on point with each other, and you can't say that these that I'm showing right here don't look just like what I show next. Everything with the Nazca lines, everything is at 45 degrees. None of my calculations is off. The numbers I've been showing, the number sets, as far as showing and proving through other people who have done their due diligence on their end regarding, before me, to line up with their work and everything, to not just, be jumping all over the place. The same particular number sets came up, 18, and then the number 12 came up. So I saw something there, that's something new that I learned from them, on their aspect. But it's it ain't necessarily something new. It's just a whole new perspective just to see, as to not to look over as far as the NASCAR lines, that number in particular, you know. So yeah.
Be a Wiggler, aka the Melon Interview. And they call me Wiggly in the game spaces. Y'all come afraid of me
My
in the mic
brother
like my mama
Wiggly,
do. I wanted
what's
to
good?
what's poppin', G? It's all good, man. It's all good. I wanted to ask him a question to expound on it. When he said the 45-degree angle deals with anti-gravity, can he break that down a little bit and how that could be, I mean, like what's that word I'm using? Can he break that down and like how that could be how we can exercise there? Like when he say it could be breaking down the anti-gravity, it
Right.
just throw me
I get
down.
my bad. Yeah, I got you, bro.
Yeah.
You pretty much asking me how can it be applied?
Yeah. How is it applicable
Right.
in everyday life? Because that's an interesting concept when you say the 45-degree angle is connected or associated with anti-gravity. Wow.
I know that sounds crazy. I know. And that's just really me, and see, when you come and to present something to someone, you really can't just show everything all at once. I might seem like I'm jumping all over the place as is right now. So it's kind of hard to, when you got a lot to show, just to, show everything. But to answer your question, 45 degrees is the core of numerology, is what 3, 6, and 9, that quote that Nikola Tesla had, which is somebody who knew a lot about magnetism and
Mm-hmm.
electricity, that type of stuff. That being the key to the universe, a key is just a key. It's a key to a door. The door is what you actually open, and the universe will be behind that door.
And I really think that's a powerful quote for real, because I think that a lot of people don't think about that. And I think that and I don't say that just because it's something I said. I say that because that's what I witness in reality. And me, on the other hand, I've stepped out of those boundaries of the 369 logic. That's what people stopped at. They thought that was just it. They acted like 369 was the universe. Like, okay, we know that all numbers, when you take them and add them up, three times together, they end up to be either 3, 6, or 9. How can you apply that? Like this brother just asked me, how can you apply that in real life? Besides what you say, pseudo, and I ain't gonna really say pseudo, or superstition, like Nikola Tesla. Even that's what people said. The man walked around a certain place, a certain block 3 times before he went in a hotel, or did this and that 3 times, a certain number of times. That's superstition. Can you actually prove? Is that really provable evidence, that something actually manifests from that? Because me, on my end, what I'm showing, it's completely different with the 4 and 5. I'm showing you where people really you literally cannot. It takes someone who I would literally, I don't even want to be disrespectful, but just it takes somebody. Hang on. It takes you to really be low. Is all I'm gonna say. Low to try to argue with the things that I'm showing. 4 + 1 = 5. You know, uh, 45 degrees, all numbers adding, all of the main numbers that we use adding up to be 45. It's the not just that aspect, the compass and the directions, that the intermediate directions that is divided into, not only 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 22.5 degrees, 2 + 2 = 4, and then 11.25 degrees, so it never ends. It's a 4.5, 7.2, or 2.7, reflection, fractal code going on right there, squaring the circle, whole 3, 6, everything that what my work does is encompass everything about numerology. Uh, it's one of the greatest aspects of numerology to ever be discovered. I can say that with factually, man. And that's why so much work has went into it because drawing out one symbol, it's crazy how powerful one symbol is. I can go on and explain this, just draw it out one time, super small on paper, like y'all have already saw me do. I've used it for so many other projects because it's the thing is it ain't just been used for one thing. The decimal code system, I'm showing how it's a universal system because remember my chakra chart that I drew out is based on that. And this science behind that is not something that was just made up. That's actually one of the main things on as far as my Great Pyramid page. And as far as my information, that was one of that one right there actually did great as far as the ratings, how people interacted with it and stuff. They liked I don't know if it was the colors or whatever, and because people love chakras and stuff like that, but they loved that one. And the other one, the next one I'm realizing the people is loving is this one that I'm drawing out with this 4.5 universal constant. This one is going crazy. So, it's only getting better and more comprehensible over time because when I'm drawing out this stuff, it's showing it. And I ain't just got to be up here talking about it. Once I got these pictures, that's the gift of drawing something out. Shit, it's right there and people can see it. It's one thing to talk about something, but when you can draw it out and then people, oh man, it's crazy.
Do it. Well, the 3, 6, and 9 is just the key, and 45 turns out to be what I'm showing is a whole universe.
Right.
Apparently, our ancestors of the Nazca in this region, they knew about it, and we know that this can only be seen in clarity from aerial. I'm gonna say we, myself, I know that this can only be seen, from the air. But once you look into the Nazca lines, they're huge, bro, and they can only be seen from the air. So it's really one of the concrete evidences of any on Earth, that there was a flight back then. Now with anti-gravity, when you take magnets specifically, if you put an ink, and this is where I would really have to show something like this on camera. But if you take magnets and apply them and point them in a specific direction, um, repelling the energy of repelling and attracting to each other will cause each other and incorporating different elements like copper and stuff like that. And you know how to combine these different elements. You know how to raise and use levitation. Um, and this can all be accomplished by knowing how to use and combine these different elements and different quantities. So yeah, I ain't just trying to use a bunch of different words and stuff and everything, but I hope that
Mm-hmm.
that answers your question to a degree. Like even with quartz, like quartz stones, it has to deal with if you look at the clock, that's why they got quartz clock, which is a quartz brand, and you know quartz is one of the main things used to electrify power clocks. It's got a direct connection I'm realizing with the earth, and
Mm-hmm.
it's right, and that's
Yeah,
something I'm
quartz
really
is
looking
interesting. Quartz is interesting how they put that inside of watches. That anti-gravity thing, when you said that, that made me think because the 45-degree angle, of course, everything starts from the bottom and it rises upward. So the angle would have to rise upward to, be able to make the 45-degree angle. And I know that we all have the belief that, especially if you're on Sanchez, that
And see, that's the thing. And I ain't trying to stop him right here. That's the thing. I was listening to him, but at the same time, I didn't want to stop him. Because as soon as you stop somebody, if they're wrong, I ain't saying that he wrong necessarily wrong, or if you really disagree on something, partially, they'll take it as you being disruptive. And he was quiet while I was, speaking and everything, so it was only right to return the same. But he when he said that the 45-degree angle rises, that's perspective. Because see, at the end of the day, that's just like I'm saying, that's perspective. Light. What is light doing? Because that's what I've been explaining to people. Everything is light, and what this is a universal constant. And when you hear about the semantics, light, and everything, one thing that I could show y'all, I just looked into something new that I just found out. a somatic field, bruh. And if you know, maybe if Sanchez saw that, he'll probably go crazy if he saw that too. You know, because he ain't ever showed that before. But I didn't know that there was some. You know, it's different just than just looking at somatics. It's something called a somatic field, whatever this thing, and I'm looking more into it myself. But it looked just, I mean, the whole thing is based off of exactly what he been saying with the flat Earth and you know, the sun, moon. I mean, if you saw it, it would literally be. I mean, nobody could deny it. You know, side by side, that's exactly what it would be. But what I'm getting at is that if everything is like part of what I've been saying and showing through my work is that everything it proves what all what other people, other scientists in the past have already been saying about light travels at a 45-degree angle. My stuff just, you know, mathematically, I would say, proves that. How can I say that? Because, like I've been saying, everything, or like that, everybody's been knowing and saying about every light. Light is composed of colors. The whole light spectrum is full of color, rainbow. That's why when you look at rainbows, they are what they are. That's simply light, a break in the whole light matrix that gives you, for whatever reason, the full vision of the whole color or what we can perceive as a color spectrum. And yeah, you know, I said that about my work because when you look at my that it shows how the energy of the colors transverse. You know, just like people have been saying about, you know, with the meditating energy of this, you know, snake going up and down. But division and multiplication of the numbers, in addition to subtraction, you know, going upward and downward on my chakra model, it really explains how, uh, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, it'll be a struggle to, that's something that I'm gonna literally have to explain in the future because it's triggering something right now about the inverse square law, you know, light and how it expands and stuff, you know, 45 degrees. So like I say, man, it's so much just trying to breathe it into one aspect, man. One whole, you know, it's crazy.
Gravity don't exist or whatever. But when we say gravity, we talking about whatever that is, this pressure or this force that's supposed to be holding down the earth or holding down objects.
Right. And see, that's why I say what I say. Ain't that what I usually say, y'all? That's what I usually say. I say gravity, or I say gravity for lack of better terms, you know, because at the end of the day, all gravity is just a word, just like he just said. It's the force that I just see it as a word, fam. That's all I'm saying. I don't feel like I should have to say, you know, anti whatever makes the you know, anti whatever make everything stick to the ground, you know what I mean, when I'm explaining magnetism. That's why I am in a way grateful for that word gravity. But I feel like we, as you know, I guess, and I ain't gonna say grateful for the word gravity because it's really what glues the whole heliocentric model together, if that's what people is trying to go against. So I ain't gonna say that, but what I will say, the better solution would be for flat earthers to combat that is create your own term, fam. You know, just if it's that much of a problem with gravity and everything, for us to say gravity in the context, you know, we should just create our own term altogether. You know, you know, from scratch, you know, and just whatever the true word, you know, anti-density, you know, you could say that, but you know, a lot of people, you know, you know, anti-density and buoyancy technology, you know, it's just a stretch. I just like to just put it, I guess, into that quick little loop with the word gravity, you know. But like I don't believe in this shit either, you know. I just, like I'm saying, I'd rather be more discreet. Yeah.
Objects matter on Earth. So I thought when you said the 45 degree uh kind of connects with or associates with the 45-degree angle. I thought that the 40 when you said that you meant that we basically rise up to I mean stand against gravity. I guess I don't know,
And
man.
see,
I'm just trying to
I'm real.
contest. I mean,
I want to apologize too, bro, about using the word gravity. You know, because
Well,
you know that's a habit.
well,
That's
let, let's
superficial. Go ahead. Go ahead.
let's use it for a minute. right? And let's show you something.
Yeah.
Now, the gravity is a theory, which is why we got a problem.
Listen to this nigga. Yeah. That should be funny when niggas do shit like that, bro. What you saying, yeah, for, bro? You go ahead, boy.
With it, because we debunk that theory
I'm just
very
fucking with
easily.
you,
We
bro.
don't subscribe to
Man,
that
this
theory
is
of
funny,
gravity. However,
Yeah.
the word gravity, in its origins, when the theory first came about, wasn't described scientifically the way we learned in our time in science textbooks in school. You're getting a scientific interpretation. But when this concept originated on the earth, there was no scientists. You had Pharisees and Sadducees and religious priests ruling the world with the church rule. You didn't have a science field. All of your science interpretation was up to religious people. So the concept that we call gravity in its original conception was a term to describe how we end up at the grave based on the pull of this mysterious force within a heliocentric universe. Because remember,
Grave ties. Gravity. Grave ties.
gravity was born
Ties
when
to the
the
grave.
gravity was born when the Big Bang exploded. Prior to the Big Bang exploding, gravity didn't exist. You know why? Gravity represents the falling, the motion that the entire universe is governed off from that point of explosion when all the worlds start to be flung out from the center. That original trajectory is the
See, I ain't saying that. I ain't doing this to cut Sanchez. You know, I already, pretty much know what basically the whole purpose of this video is like to highlight the brother and what he said, and I appreciate his question and everything. Damn. I appreciate his question and everything, and if I could have been able to present what I needed to, I just don't be wanting to cut people off and stuff like that. I don't really be knowing, because I consider myself socially awkward and stuff like that. I don't, it's, I be trying not to do stuff to piss people off because I know if I piss somebody off, how I react, it just get flung out of hand and stuff like that. So I try to be real reserved and try to really, not to it ain't because I'm scared or nothing. It's because I'm scared. If anything, scared of what I have to do to anybody else because I'm crazy. It's shit crazy, man. So I just be trying to be cool and quiet and everything. And it wasn't nothing. I ain't saying nothing worked up about, but I'm just saying. Dang, I was about to say something, man.
grave mythology. So they taught people when you die to go to the other world. You basically, it's an astronaut falling.
What I was basically gonna say is, I would basically, if I was on there, I would just, show him what I needed to show him, which is what I'm about to do now. That's the whole purpose of this video here. But I was showing right there. That's another picture that I showed in the past. That's one that amazes me too, because like I told y'all, with it's consistent 45 degrees. That same exact thing. If you take this and simplify it, this whole thing that you see right here, simplified, is basically that right there that you see in that etched in that ground.
Falling through a bottomless pit. But see, the concept of falling is how we became fallen angels with this dumb.
Okay. So now that that's being seen, what I'm gonna go to now to show the brother what I would show him is, there we go. This right here. It should be one of the first videos to pop up. Yep. This is a video that now I'm just showing it because I don't have the materials. If I had the materials myself, I could literally create and do what I'm saying, because I got the mind to, it's all it is putting puzzle pieces together, man. It ain't as hard or, as crazy as people think it is. But when he said that about, I thought that that when you were saying anti-gravity, it, something about it raises people up, and I could tell he's confused by what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, with the technological device, with it being built specifically for the use of levitation, we're utilizing the correct components and placing them correctly is what I'm saying. The magnetic fields, when you place them correctly of the magnets and all of these components that you use to create this, and whatever it is, this because it could be a pyramid, it could be a coil, or I ain't gonna say a coil because that ain't something that need anti-gravity, but a flight, something with flight. And when I say pyramid, that ain't necessarily something that need to fly, but some a pyramid shaped flight, anyway, because there are UFOs apparently that they show. Most of them look like triangulated pyramids. And then Vermont and stuff like that is talked about in the past as well, which actually have come up with the Nazca lines too. Uh, this when you take these different when you specifically, what I'm getting at is with my knowledge of the 45 degrees, if you go back on what the video that I've shown with Theoria Apophysis and what he said about and what he showed about the magnetic fields, and 45 degrees specifically, and how innate and on point and vital it is for the whole, with magnetism itself. Because anybody knows that as far as levitation, going against whatever that force is that keeps us held on the ground, no matter what, anybody knows that magnets got to play a part in that. Okay. So here it is. This is the video right here that I was going. You see those arrangements right there? That's part of what I'm, trying. This just shows part of. I can't do it on camera because I don't have the materials. But if I could, Lord knows I would. And what you see right there just shows partially what I could do. They just not doing what I know. You know what I mean? If you get what I'm saying. But they're going to show you levitation, based on what. But maybe if they knew what I knew, because at the end of the day, 45 degrees is a fractal of 90. Fractaling anything causes something to, grow, amplify. So that would, if anything, I feel like 45 degrees, if they did it with this, it would help them be able to levitate this thing even more, that they show that they levitate.
If it could do it.
Are you ready? Let's fire it up.
It's lifting.
Okay, it's flying now.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. Now it is so easy to just move around. That's amazing.
Give it a push. Like it's got some real.
Wow. It could carry some weight, hey?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So how does it work? Well, it's similar to how a magnet falling through a pipe is slowed down. Anytime a conductor experiences a changing magnetic field, electric currents are induced in it, which create a magnetic field to oppose that change. And in this case, the spinning magnets induce currents in the copper sheet. They create a magnetic field, which is nearly a mirror image of the spinning magnets, and so they're repelled. If the
Sorry about that. Now, as you can see right here, you can see that the placement of the magnets themselves, of course, create this levitation based on this device that they're showing right here.
Rotors spin fast enough, this repulsion leads to levitation.
That is awesome.
All right, let's set it down here.
Yep.
So it's just going to come gently.
So if you look at this as well and you think about it, think about the fact that the swivels like I had showed. And if you think about this being an aspect of something that expands across the whole earth, we don't know what's down below under the, in the great deep, as they call it, or, Sheol, whatever you want to call it. But these specific levitation, this levitation is going on here. You can see that these four corners is based on four corners, and everything is placed as it is for a reason. This wheel is actually 45 degrees right here. My bad on that. Y'all can't see that light anyway, but this right here is placed 45 degrees, this corner. If you specifically drew a line, I'm not just saying that. If you got on top of this architecturally and drew this design out, this wheel is coming 45 degrees from right here. If they put the wheel over here on this side, it's not going to function the same. If they put it too far over here on this side, it's not going to function the same. It's not going to spin the same. So what I'm getting at is that, the placement of something specifically, that's what helps something, be able to, that's how you can manipulate stuff to do what you need it to do. And specifically when you look at the compass, that's why I'm saying that's something that is constant. You cannot. That's one thing that people really would have to comprehend on what I'm saying, as far as it's a universal constant. That's something that you cannot get around. You have to, a compass has to be divided into those sectors, and based on those sectors and the correct math, that's 45 degrees, and there's no way around that. I'll go ahead and let this play real quick.
You land.
The induced currents then encounter resistance in the copper, so they dissipate their energy as heat.
Whoa. And this copper is.
You see that? See, I'm not just saying that. If you got on top, that's a 45-degree line. All of this stuff is based on, it's like a huge X system. That center point right there, I mean, it's the swivel. If you think about the swivel, and like I drew, this is literally what that is, and if you can think about that being fractalized into small components on a creator type of level, that definitely in itself, that I'm trying to imagine myself how that would work, man. Like clock gears, like I'm saying, like what that would do, this would help explain as well, when people talk about the flat earth and how, whether it's in space, what is it sitting on top of? Because that's something that I question a lot. I really do question that. I feel like flat earthers honestly don't speak about that honestly enough. I got some questions about flat earth that I would love to ask flat earthers, because real constructive criticism, because I'm an out of the box thinker. And I feel like, a lot of people probably question some stuff, but they still be too afraid to ask. A lot of people just don't get on panels and stuff where, they're just afraid altogether to speak out on what they truly think or question. These, golly, dang, I just lost it. Man. Oh, yeah. Down below, man. See, this aspect of keeping something levitated, just like this is staying levitated as well with the aspect of madness, you can also keep something in a controlled position. You can keep something from moving. This is a fact. So just like this thing is, surely enough levitating, it as well can be kept from moving and stay in a stationary position. Now the other crazy thing is, the whole, if you could, this, I ain't gonna lie, man. I've been thinking lately about, I know that if I had the money and everything, that I needed, I would definitely go ahead and build like my own miniature Earth. I think I will go ahead and do that. I think I got the knowledge to do that. Real talk. I would try to do something like the first miniature real flat Earth model based on electromagnetism. You know, it'll be floating, it'll be or whatever, whatever the case needs to be. You know, it'll had a torus field, everything that you could think of. You know, everything there. But I do got my own questions about the flat Earth. I'm gonna throw this one at y'all if y'all ever hear it in the future. At the end of the day, east to west on the flat Earth, when you travel it, is going circle. Is what that's how we explain it, right? It's traveling like around the block. Well, at the end of the day, what's 45 degrees on the flat Earth? How does that work? Can anybody explain that? You know, that's a hard one right there. How does 45 degrees work on the flat Earth? You know, because you obviously got a curve when you go east to west. You know, what's the curvature for northeast? That's what I'm getting.
Is pretty hot,
It's gotten warmer. Yeah, I can still keep my hand on it at least
Yeah.
for a second or two.
but it is like a hot mug of coffee or something.
Yeah.
I experienced this before with another electromagnetic levitation device. Except with this one, the changing magnetic field was created by an electromagnet in the base, inducing currents in a light aluminum plate, which levitated.
Whoa!
The plate got so hot, you could boil water on it.
Check out how hot this plate is. If you have two north magnets facing each other,
Yeah.
they normally just kind of like fall off.
Yeah.
Is there a similar problem here or no?
Not really, no. And the reason is the magnetic fields that are induced by currents in the copper sheet are a mirror image of the applied magnetic field, and the effect is so quick that as it moves, it just kind of follows it around.
Making this device work in practice is harder than it looks. For one thing, the magnetic field of the permanent magnets has to be very strong. Neodymium magnets are strong, but there's a special configuration you can use to make them even stronger.
It's called a Hallbach array. They're used in particle accelerators. They're used in fridge magnets, actually. Hallbach arrays, so they're stronger on the side that sticks to the fridge, so use less material overall.
Magnetic field lines run from north to south, and they're normally symmetric on both sides of a magnet. But if you rearrange them like this, the magnetic field lines are channeled almost entirely into one side of the magnetic array.
So see, that right there changes the game. That's 90 degrees right there. What I'm specifically saying myself is like what it's doing is fractalizing. And what it was before it turned 90 degrees, it was 180 degrees up and down, right? That's non-debatable, right? It was factually north and south, everything was configured, you know, going 180 degrees up and down. It's going 90 degrees specifically because see, not north is going that way, now north is going down that way. That's literally a 90-degree angle. Well, north is going this way, then north is going this way. That's the letter L backwards, 90-degree angle. Then you got the letter L going that way. It's just a mirror of that side, just like I've been showing y'all, symmetry within my work. So once you got that knowledge right there, and I'm just applying science and common sense. This is literally fractaling the energy of and redirecting the energy of the magnetism based upon the direction of simple. And all I'm getting at is that if you once you know to do this with 90 degrees, you can do that with 45 degrees. That's literally all I'm saying almost, because 22.5, once you take it to that point, you getting into the decimals. So 45 degrees is the last number that you can actually tilt it and turn it before you get into the two, you know, you cutting into the decimals. And I ain't gonna say that it is too small of a fractal to actually do it, but 45 degrees is that last marker. It's the final frontier for that.
And they cancel out on the other side. This configuration produces a much stronger magnetic field without changing the properties of the magnets. In these rotors, there are 12 wedge-shaped magnets. Their magnetic poles are fixed in this particular arrangement. This increases the magnetic field on the bottom side and almost eliminates it on the top. As the magnets spin, they create a rotating magnetic field in the copper beneath them. This induces currents that create magnetic fields, which oppose the magnetic field of the spinning magnets above. The result is a repulsive force that is effectively lift for this quadcopter. But in addition to lift, there is also drag. Energy is clearly being dissipated in the system as the heat produced by the induced currents in the copper. And that energy comes from the fact the magnetic field of the induced currents is not a perfect mirror of the spinning magnets above. Instead, the induced magnetic poles are slightly ahead. So they produce a backward force on the rotors, which is really a backwards torque. And that's why the rotors on alternate corners have to spin in opposite directions. Because otherwise, they would produce a net spin and turn the whole machine in one direction. This way, they cancel out. This principle has been used to achieve levitation in everything from maglev trains to hoverboards. And it's being considered as a means to make the Hyperloop, a superfast system for transporting people and goods through tubes at very low pressure. But instead of spinning the magnets, the vehicle's motion itself would cause the magnetic field to change in the conductive track below.
So in the future, do you think this is going to be how we travel?
I think like ongoing developments in digital motor controllers and very powerful magnets will mean that talking about moving humans and cargo at extremely high speeds is actually something that we can, as a species, kind of look at. Like, wow, it turns out that getting from one city to another city in the same day is something that the next 1 billion or 2 billion people might have the opportunity to do in one lifetime.
Hey, Veritasium is supported by viewers like you on Patreon.
So yeah, that's just one video, you know, and you can look at plenty others, but that accurately shows, one went through the scientific method through everything that I just showed right now, and went through a hypothesis, conclusion, and everything that I just said based off of what I said on that panel and everything with 45 degrees in magnetism. What I showed you is what can be done with 90 degrees, and they showed you specifically, honestly. But it's, all I'm saying is it's common sense. If you, continue to apply that, what I'm saying is showing through my work is through the fractals. That's why the compass functions like it does. And one thing as well I realized is they had the number 12 within that right there, kind of like the clock. But yeah, man, that's all I wanted to show within this video. I'm gonna cut this one right here because I got a lot of background noise going on right now. That's honestly why I ain't been going live too much lately, because I've been having a lot of stuff going on with that. But hopefully this encompassed that whole question that brother had as far as the anti-gravity. And if anybody else has any in-depth questions or concerns, constructive criticisms regarding that, you already know I'm a click and a tap away from the keyboard. Just let me know what's up, and I'm gonna let y'all go, man. I appreciate y'all listening in, and peace out.